What's up, everybody? My name's Big Cam and welcome back to another movie review. And today we are talking about 2026's now streaming on Apple TV, The Dink. And The Dink is very funny. It's like a pickleball movie, but it's like a comedy with a little bit of like a rom-com element to it, but they didn't quite lean into the romance, but there is a little bit of romance through it. So like, you know, for me, I'm a sucker for a love story. So like, I genuinely wanted to see the love story, but I don't know, maybe that could come down the line because they did kind of leave this open, like there could be sequels if they were successful. So I don't know, maybe there will be. But this film was directed by Josh Greenbaum, who I don't necessarily recognize. You know, one of his most recent films was Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar in 2021 with Kristen Wiig, and you know, that looks funny. But you know, it seems like he sticks to like comedy genre. He did Strays, the movie with like the dogs, in 2023. It also says that he's doing Spaceballs, the new one, you know, doing Spaceballs 2, and that comes out in 2027. So I might go see that. You know, I'm not necessarily a big Spaceballs guy in the first place, but hey, you know, it seems like this guy's doing comedy, so shout out Josh Greenbaum. And the little synopsis for this reads on Letterboxd: desperate to save a struggling country club and earn his father's respect, a washed-up tennis pro is compelled to break a sacred vow and do the unthinkable: play pickleball. Right? So it's like the pickleball versus tennis debate. And like, in all fairness, tennis is like the actual fucking sport, and pickleball is just for like, you know, elderly people and out of shape people to make them feel like they're athletic. They're like, look, I do pickleball. It's like, yeah, so does that 75-year-old guy that can barely move. You know, like the whole point of tennis is like getting the sweat in, running from one side of the court to the other. You know, even playing doubles tennis is still probably way fucking harder than pickleball. And there's a couple of points in this movie, and I just want to stand on business. They were like trying to sell pickleball, and they were trying to sell country music. Fuck both those things. Fucking tennis and any other type of music. You know, and I like country, but not like fucking everybody else. You know, like I like a Dolly Parton, I like the classics, I like hit songs for the country, but I can't just turn on country music and be like, I'm vibing, my beer, my wine, my whiskey. You know, like in every other fucking song is my truck, my wine, my mud, my whiskey. It's like, I get it, you're in the South, you don't do much except drink and party. But back to The Dink. For an Apple TV Plus movie, it seems like Apple TV keeps putting out more and more stuff. It's like they're really genuinely trying to become a good streaming platform. And the more and more stuff that they bring to that platform, I might start using Apple TV Plus more. You know, not that I think everyone still has it, but like right now, Ted Lasso is streaming. They just dropped a new movie on there. So like for me, I'm like, you know, there's some things for them to, you know, be drawing attention to. And then like the TV shows that they've been putting out, they keep getting like really big names. Like I think there's a show called Your Friends and Neighbors with John Hamm. There's another one that I think is like a morning news type of show called The Morning Show with Jennifer Aniston. You know, there's Ted Lasso. There's plenty of other shows too that I haven't checked out. Invasion, Foundation, there's like so many of them that like sound good, I just haven't gotten into. You know, Pluribus was really good last year. Sugar with Colin Farrell, right? Like there's so many of them that they keep putting out, but I just need to find the time to really sit down and watch all of them. You know, that's why I prefer movies over TV, you know, because like I don't always have it in me to sit down and watch a TV show for a week, you know what I mean? Because it will take 8 hours, you know, say if it's hour-long episodes and there's 8 episodes a season, you know, sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less, you know, but like either way, if I have to sit down for 20 hours to watch seasons of a show versus 1 or 2 hours for one movie, you know, I'll get the one movie done in that night, and then I'll watch another movie the next day and feel like I got 2 projects done, rather than watching a TV show that takes just so much more time. But I will say, once I get to the end of TV shows, I'm always just like, I don't want them to end, you know, where like movies, I'm like, I'm so glad I watched that, right? Like recently, I've been in the mindset where like I haven't felt like really watching movies because I watched things like The Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day that just blew my mind with how good a movie can possibly be, and like the quality of movies that we're getting now in 2026. And I'm like, holy shit, you know, the best filmmaker in the world, Christopher Nolan, just blew my mind to pieces with the Odyssey, and then I just have been recovering ever since, sitting at home just like, wow, just incredible movies that I just saw. I don't necessarily, you know, like I feel like I got my fix, you know, like I got my hankering for movies, I got really out of the way with the Odyssey, so now I'm just kind of like, you know, what do I do with my time? Do I watch TV? So I've been watching more TV, but then I watch a movie like this and it completely reminds me why I want to watch movies. And I'm like, yeah, dude, love stories, funny comedies, you know, like if I'm not watching like an action superhero movie or like a sci-fi alien movie, you know, like, and I like all types of movies, but like, you know, I gravitate towards the adventures, the sci-fis, the superheroes, the supernatural, right? Like I gravitate towards like the action, you know, side of things. But in the other side of things, like if I'm not going to watch that, I want to watch a love story and I want to have some comedy in there. And this had like enough romance for me that I was keyed in and really hoping that they do more than just kiss. And they said that they kissed at one point in this movie, but I must have looked down and missed the one kiss. So I need to go back and watch this movie again just to see Jake Johnson kiss the love little relationship he has in this movie with Mary Steenburgen. Or Mary Steenburgen? Bergen? I don't know. I'm sorry if I butchered her name, but Mary Steenburgen is a legend. She's been in 104 movies like Elf, Step Brothers, The Proposal, The Help, Back to the Future 3. It says she's been in a lot, so good for her. You know, she's an absolute beast, and every time I see her, she's hilarious, but I also think she's gorgeous, right? And she's, you know, up there in age. She's born in February, February birthday. No wonder why I love her. But it says she was a comedian, actress, singer, songwriter. She was born in 1953. Fucking shout out. I mean, what? So she's got to be like 70 something, 73 by my math. I would still hit Mary Steenburgen. I would fucking crack it, as the kids would say. But Jake Johnson and her, like, you know, sure, there's an age gap, but like, they should have sent it. They should have just fucking sent it. You know, like it seemed like Dusty and Candace in the movie, regardless of the age gap, they genuinely had a connection, whether it's just being friends or whatnot. But like, I don't know. I feel like if there's the Dink 2, they should fall in love and do a lot more than kissing. But like the fact that Chloe Feynman was in here as his ex-girlfriend, she was funny. Chen is like a comedian. He was playing PJ. He was fucking hilarious. Every time he was on screen, he was saying some wild shit. Patton Oswalt was in here as Skip Pigliani, and they called him Piggy. Andy Roddick, who played Andy Roddick, was the tennis pro that he had to beat, and apparently he was the #1 tennis player in the world in like 2003, so hey, shout out Andy Roddick. John McEnroe was in here just doing like commentary for the tennis match, which was hilarious. Ben Stiller was the doctor who was obsessed with like porn. I was like, dude, Ben Stiller, what are you doing, dude? Like, just funny that he showed up in this just to like, hey, I'll be in this movie, why not? You know, and I was dying laughing that he was. Ed Harris was his father. That's another thing that I was like, Ed Harris, why is he in this, right? Like, Ed Harris has done 123 movies. He should have enough money. Like, is Ed Harris just in crazy debt? Like, does he have ex-wives that took all of his money? Does he have kids that he needs to put through college? Like, I don't understand why Ed Harris is still working. I mean, he's phenomenal, but like, why is he in the Dink as Jake Johnson's father? Like, he must have just wanted to have fun. Like, Ed Harris must just be down to fucking clown. You know what I mean? Like, I've never wanted to meet Ed Harris more. Like, because he's got an intimidating voice and face, but then he does movies like this, and you're like, Ed Harris must be the fucking man. You know? Like, I gotta chat with him one day. If not, just, you know, give him his flowers and be like, hey, you're a legend, bro. Fucking shout out Ed Harris. But Cleo King was Gail, the two elderly women that were with friggin' Candace's character, and like they were her friends, and they were the other team that they were playing against in pickleball, Gail and Judy. And Gail was Cleo King, Judy was Lynne Marie Stewart. Fucking hilarious, Judy. Judy was so funny. She like was killing me, the amount of shit she would say. She'd just like, oh, if you don't want to be with her, I'll tell you someone who's a lot more flexible. You know, she does like this stretch, and he's just like, ah, yeah. And, like, but then like they go to like this bar and they do like this country bar square dancing, and he shows up for her, and I thought that was really sweet. And like they show it to her ex-husband Mitch, who was played by Martin Cove, who it says he's been in 106 71 movies? Holy shit. And it seems like he's 80. 171 movies? That's insane. But then his, like, new girlfriend that, like, you know, she was like trying to show up extra hot and be like, oh, I look better than your girlfriend. And Mitch's new girlfriend was B, played by Christine Taylor. And I was like, damn, why does she look familiar? She was in The Wedding Singer, Zoolander, Zoolander 2, Tropic Thunder, The Craft, Dodgeball. And I was like, huh, that's a lot of movies with Ben Stiller. And then I read like her little thing. And it seems like Ben Stiller and her were married. They split in 2017 after 17 years of marriage, but since have rekindled their marriage. So maybe like this was like they're back together in 2026, and Ben, you know, was like, hey, come do this movie with me and be the girlfriend to Mitch. You know, she doesn't have a ton of screen time, but she, you know, was there, and so does Ben Stiller. He doesn't have a ton of screen time, but still very funny when he showed up. And then like Fortune Feimster and Steenburgen were like the two partners, and they're like, I gotta know, I gotta ask, siblings or a couple? And they go, partners. And they're like, made it worse, we should go. You know, like there was a couple lines in this that just cracked me up, and just how funny it was, right? Like he's like, country music sucks. She slaps the shit out of him. He's like, yeah, I'll tell you what just happened. You smacked the shit out of me. You know, like, I don't know why Jake Johnson, like he plays dumb really well, like almost too well, but it really works for me. Like, I don't know if it's just because I like Peter B. Parker so much from Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, and hopefully in Beyond the Spider-Verse he has a big role too. But like, you know, he's Spider-Man in that animated movie, and he's just the dumbest Spider-Man. He's Peter B. Parker. He's not Peter A. Parker. He's Peter B. Parker. And Jake Johnson is really funny, and the more I see him and stuff, the more I'm like, yeah, no, he's great, you know? And apparently he was in Venom? I don't remember him in Venom. I do remember him in Jurassic World. He was playing like a little computer guy in Jurassic World who had things lined up on his desk. Like, he plays like he's like a funny character actor, but then like they keep trying to make him a leading man type of thing, like in this movie. And, you know, he's been doing some movies himself, like producing his own work. So like, shout out Jake Johnson. He doesn't need to be a supporting actor, but I feel like him as a character actor is where he shines the most. You know what I mean? Like that little one or two liner in the movie, like just kind of there, but it's just funny as hell. I didn't realize he was one of the guys in Tag, right? Because the rest of the group is probably more famous than him. But Ed Helms, John Hamm, Jeremy Renner, Hannibal Buress, and Jake Johnson were like the crew of guys for Tag. I don't know if you guys saw that back in 2018, but it was really funny. And like, just, you know, he's one of those guys that like every time I see him, he makes me laugh and like makes me smile. So just shout out Jake Johnson for being a funny guy and, you know, really committing to the bit and letting people laugh at him and be the sense of comedy in a movie or a project, you know what I mean? Or just making people laugh because of his line delivery, right? Like, he's got such a dry, like, way of delivering something, but, like, he doesn't crack. So, like, he'll say something and it'll just be real monotone and funny, but, like, he'll just sit there like it's serious, and then that will make you laugh. Like, yeah, he's just good, man. And the cast in this really, I thought, was good. And, you know, sure, it's not the best movie. You know, it's about pickleball at the end of the day. So it is dumb as fuck. But, like, for a quick little hour and a half comedy, a little bit of romance, I'm totally here for this movie. And if they make a second one, I would watch it. So Apple TV Plus, go make another second movie, write it off as a friggin' tax write-off like they've been doing with pretty much every single one of their projects, right? Like, they don't even care if any of their projects are not profitable. They're making so much money as a company that they started Apple TV Plus just to start writing off money. Oh, $250 million for that fucking TV show? Write it off as a tax break, you know, and then they don't even care if it makes money or not. You know, if Apple TV, the streaming service, makes money, they're like, I don't give a shit. They're pretty much making projects for themselves to watch, you know what I mean? That's what it feels like. If you really scroll through Apple TV, you're like, huh, why is this movie on here but that one's not? It's almost like the big wigs are like, what movie can we get on our platform? I really want to see that. Let's get that, you know? And like, they start hand-picking things that they want on their platform. It just feels strange. But The Dink is on Apple TV Plus now, and comment below if you subscribe to Apple TV Plus or if that's one of the streamers that you don't have. But if you do have it, I can't recommend The Dink enough, and some of their other movies, like Wolves or The Instigators, were kind of funny. But The Dink, overall, for me, is about 3.5 out of 5 stars, about a 7 out of 10. If I had to give it a true 10 score, it's probably more like a 6.9. You know, like a just barely a 7, you know, maybe even a 6 stars. But, you know, just peaked into the 7. So a 3.5 out of 5 stars for me, 7 out of 10. Comment below your thoughts on this movie, and comment below if you have Apple TV Plus and you've been watching Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso season 3 has been really funny, but I don't know if I like watching it week to week, but it is what it is. You know, I'll be watching the new episode next Wednesday, so comment below if you guys are watching Ted Lasso out there. And if you liked the Dink, and if you have any other movie recommendations for me, please drop those down below, or you can message my other social media your thoughts about this, or if you're a movie buff like me, follow my other social medias, links for those down in the description below. But if you made it this far into the video and you would like to support the channel further, the best way of doing that is smashing the like button, commenting down below, subscribing if you haven't already, and hitting that bell so you don't miss future movie reviews and you get the notifications when those come out. Once again, my name is Big Cam, and I'll see you gorgeous folks in the next video. Peace!